Hello and welcome to Bricking It, Bellway's very own podcast, which gives you a unique insight into careers in the property building industry and life at Bellway. We'll be getting to know the Bellway team, debunking some stereotypes about working in the industry, and giving you an insight into a career in construction and housing. I'm Laura Cooper, Head of Organisational Development at Bellway. In this episode, I'm joined by Cassandra Codling from NHBC, Tracey Hill from the Homebuilders Federation, and John Dierikx from Bellway Scotland East. In light of Women in Construction Week, I've invited Cassandra, Tracey and John to join me to discuss this year's theme of Together We Rise and find out a bit more about how the industry is encouraging more women to explore careers in construction. So without further ado, let's start bricking it. So, Cassandra, coming to you first. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can we just start by hearing a little bit more about you and your background, and maybe a little bit about who NHBC are and what your role involves, please?
Of course. Hi Laura, it's great to join you today, so thank you for the invite. So my name's Cassandra Codling, I'm Regional Director at NHBC, so I cover the South East area. As many of you are probably aware, NHBC are the leading UK independent warranty and insurance provider for new homes. Our purpose is to raise house building standards in the industry by championing high quality homes, protecting homeowners. So my role within NHBC is really to harness solid relationships with our builder customers. I become involved in resolving disputes to ensure adherence of the NHBC standards and building regulations. It's a very diverse and at times demanding and challenging role. No 2 weeks are often the same, but that's one of the highlights for me. Amongst many other highlights that I have within my role, I assess sites for the NHBC Pride in the Job Quality campaign, which is a great and thoroughly rewarding part of the role. I coordinate submissions and feedback to site teams, site managers, and wider builder customers on the quality that we're seeing on site. Not necessarily negative feedback, but quite often positive feedback. And it's really great to engage with site teams. I also input into the content and format for the NHBC Beyond 25 Live technical conference, which again is quite an involved part of the role, but it's great to deal with many external bodies such as government bodies and gain their engagement in presenting and educating the house building industry.
Thanks, Cassandra. Tracey, coming to you next. Obviously, we're delighted to have you with us as well. Can you tell the listeners a little bit more about the Housebuilders Federation, please, and your role and what that involves?
Yeah, thanks again for allowing me to join the podcast. It's great. So, Tracey Hill, I'm the Project and Contract Manager within the Homebuilders Federation. So, the Homebuilders Federation, HBF for short, is a representative body of the home building industry in England and Wales. HBF and members account for 80% of all new homes built in England and Wales in any one year, and they include companies of all sizes, ranging from multinational household names such as Taylor Wimpey, Barrett Redrow, Bellway, to regionally based businesses and small companies. You could say we're the voice of the home building industry. So our priorities for HBF really include influencing new planning policy at both local and national and regional levels, pressing the case with government to help shore up the market and regain customer confidence, supporting and delivering activities which help drive up quality recruitment and skills across the sector and workforce. So we tend to do all of that really by collaborating on issues. We try to influence government policy by engaging politicians, officials, all of the stakeholders that are involved in the construction and home building arena. And we go out there and we try to attract new entrants and upskill the existing workforce through a variety of different initiatives. And in all of that, we're really trying to provide networking opportunities for the whole of the industry, from the chairs and the directors right down to the new entrants, where we have future talent conferences. So in my role, I work in the industry attract and skills team, and I love working in that team because I get to meet so many employers, so many young people, And, I go out and talk to young people about the industry and sort of try and dispel some of those myths. And I work with the home builders and colleges and other influencers really to look at how we can improve skills. NHBC are a very close organisation that I work with on a lot of other types of projects to upscale. So yeah, absolutely love my role. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Tracey. And last but not least, John, coming to you. Can you share a bit more with our listeners about what your role involves, please?
Sure. Laura, thanks for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the conversation. As Construction Director for Bellway Scotland East, I'm accountable for the delivery mechanisms for supplying fabulous new homes. In doing so, we've got responsibilities that cover safety, quality, programming, resourcing, staffing, and ultimately customer service and customer care. So it's quite a wide arching role, and it's very dynamic, and never 2 days are the same as a result of that. So it's quite a large role, highly accountable, as you may imagine, but a very exciting role, and a role that, similar to what Tracey and Cassandra said, that I'm excited to be a part of and proud to be a part of.
Thanks all. Great to have you here this morning. So that's all great, right? But our listeners like to know what people really think about matters. And the key question I've got for all of you is, what is your go-to afternoon snack? Cassandra, coming back to you first.
My go-to afternoon snack is crisps. Any type of crisps. I love crisps. Grab bags, preferably.
Excellent. Tracey, what about you?
I really would love to say it's fruit, but it's not. It's chocolate, I'm afraid. Any kind of chocolate. And I like a Baby Bell as well. So, yeah, bit of a contrast there.
Cheese and chocolate. Yeah, good choices. John, what about you?
Well, I'm going to weird the conversation out and say tomatoes.
Was not expecting that.
I'm an absolute tomato fiend. I love tomatoes. I think I've got a bit of an issue actually, but tomatoes are my happy food, quick, easy, and healthy. So I'm as boring as they can come.
I think that's really quick. Actually, how do you eat a tomato? Do you eat it like an apple, or do you slice it up?
Or different days, different moods. You mix it up. But generally, people will come into the office and there's a box of tomatoes being chewed on, which is normal for me, but maybe a little different for everyone else.
Good to know. Thank you for sharing. So moving on back into our theme around women in house building. As people might or might not be aware, we're recording this during Women in Construction Week, which takes place every year to celebrate and promote the role of women in the construction industry. This year, the theme is Together We Rise, and it celebrates the strength and knowledge of women and the vital role that they play in shaping the future of the construction industry. Can I just start off by asking each of you why you think this theme's so important? John, I'm just mixing it up a bit. Can I start with you?
Sure. I think it's quite an interesting theme. I think it's very fitting. Together We Rise. There's not many processes or procedures in construction that doesn't involve teamwork, and it can't be done alone. So the togetherness and the rising of the togetherness, I think, is absolutely poignant in the message of what we're trying to do here. The pride that we deliver in what we do comes as a team, and the flip of that, when we get it wrong, we seldom fix it individually. So again, the teamwork element is crucial. And again, we need more inclusivity and we need more diversity in that team, which we're trying to do and will continue to do. So I think the message is absolutely spot on, Laura. I think it's catchy, I think it's dynamic, and it represents what we're trying to do very well.
Thanks, John. Tracey, coming to you next. What are your thoughts?
Very similar to John, but I suppose that Together We Rise for me emphasises collaboration, that unity, allyship and empowerment, in an industry that's really been male dominated for so long. So it's a focus the other way. Within it, I sort of feel like if we can get together with a powerful message, we can inspire future generations, challenge stereotypes and break down some barriers. So, all of it really is about promoting that importance of a diverse perspective, that we can all succeed together.
Thanks, Tracey. Cassandra, what about you?
I think it's a great focus for our industry at a time when there's so much uncertainty, with pressures for the government as well to deliver on housing, a lot of regulatory change. Then we do need a diverse workforce. We need innovation, fresh perspectives, a new approach to challenging solutions. And the only way we'll achieve that is through a diverse workforce. So, a higher percentage of women in the construction industry will feed that innovation and that growth. And I agree, it's very much about inclusivity as well. We need to be working together to raise standards, to achieve production, to show the government, show external stakeholders that we are serious and we are committed to delivering quality.
Thank you. I think you've kind of covered it off in your answers, but I'm just interested to explore a little bit more around why you think it's so important that there are more women encouraged to consider roles within construction and house building. Tracey, what are your thoughts?
I think it's about, by bringing more women in, we're changing a culture that has been predominantly male dominated. And in changing that culture, we're also about changing dynamics, other ways of thinking, we're bringing in different mindsets. So, yeah, I think the more balance of male to female we can achieve, the better.
John, what are your views?
Not too dissimilar from Tracey. I think as the industry wants to modernise, it can't do it by any other means. It must improve in terms of having more women in construction and, again, more diversity and inclusivity general across industry. There's untapped potential still there and so many different possibilities through those routes. So I think Tracey mentioned the word perspectives. That's lost opportunity to an industry that needs fresh perspectives, particularly with all the, like Cassandra was saying, the new controls and policies being introduced by governments and local governments. We need different thinking. And the more people around that table, the closer we'll get to solutions faster and quicker. And that can do the industry no harm whatsoever.
Yeah, great point, John. Cassandra, what about yourself?
It's about breaking down barriers, isn't it? That, we remove the stigma that this is a male-dominated industry. This is an industry that is inclusive for all. There's so much diversity, so much opportunity from the various roles throughout construction that we should be encouraging the widest talent pool that we can, and bringing women into the industry, like we've said, will only build the outlook, the fresh ideas, the innovation, and will support, like we said, in government ambitions, delivery, growth, modernising the industry. It can only be a positive.
Thank you. Tracey, coming to you, I know you designed and implemented the Women into Homebuilding site management programme. Can you tell us and our listeners a little bit more about this, please?
Yeah, I suppose, first of all, I can't take all the credit for designing it, but we started off at a point where we could see that 33% of women were in home building industry, and majority of those were in sales or corporate roles. Only 4% of those women were in site management and 2% in trades. So we knew we'd got to improve the gender imbalance and change mindsets across the industry. So back in 2022, HBF led a group of interested home builders to the table to design the initial programme. The group wanted to focus on management positions on site with the idea of, what I've said before, increasing the number of women in leadership roles and changing the culture by increasing that presence on site. We knew that we'd be able to change dynamics. We'd be able to, you see more women on site, you want to be one of those women on site sort of thing. So the headlines in terms of the programme itself, it's a national programme for women across England, Scotland and Wales. It's a 3-week programme with a hybrid delivery model. So it encompasses 1 week of virtual industry insight and employability training. And lots of our home builders actually take part in delivering sessions in that week on all topical things that are relevant to the industry, plus site management and the relationships that a site manager has on site. And then there is a 2-week on-site work experience for the women that get involved. So huge successful response from that. The women all love the programme. They get so excited, they get so much from it. And we're also hearing positive messages from employers and site teams about, it was great to have this lady on site. We'd learnt so much. She had some great ideas. It's broken down some barriers on sites, particularly in the trade side. But essentially, the programme is funded by participating employers and sponsored by NHBC, who cover the travel and childcare, which can be a particular barrier for women joining the programme. And the women also get job application and mentoring support. So it's a great programme for them and helps them to then access and get themselves into employment with industry or wider construction. Since 2023, we've delivered 5 cohorts and we have put 315 women through an engagement and information session process. 92 women have actually completed the Homebuilding Insight Week programme and work placement, and just over 25 have gained and secured employment or an apprenticeship so far, with many from the last programme still at interview stage. So we're finding that the programme is attracting a high calibre of women that aren't currently in employment but are employable. They just need the door opening, and this seems to open the door for them and, gets them in front of all of our employers. The spring programme's just launched 2 weeks ago, so it will be taking place in May. And it will be delivered by our new delivery partner, Pathway CTM. Many of you may know that we used to partner with Women into Construction back in 2023, who sadly no longer exists as an organisation. So yeah, great to announce that Pathway CTM are now delivering this for us. We know there's still things to do, such as breaking down barriers, changing attitudes. We've got a lot to do in terms of promoting allyship, and a whole lot more in terms of looking at flexible working, job share, and practical stuff like facilities and PPE that fit women. But yeah, we're on a journey and we're progressing our way through it. So yeah, looking forward to more of the same.
Exciting times ahead. You mentioned, Tracey, that there was lots of collaboration involved in the project. Could you tell us who got involved and what were the benefits of working collaboratively were?
Yeah, so back in the beginning, when we were all sat around the table designing the programme, we had Barrett, Bellway, Col Holmes, Hill Group, Keepmoat, Persimmon, Redrose, St Modwin and Vistry. But a whole lot more have joined and participated since then. I feel like this is a roll list, but we've got Anwell, Bargate Homes, Davidson, Gleeson, Lovell, Northstone, Places for People, Prospect, Tillier, Hopkins and Waits Residential now. So, we're seeing more and more employers keen to actually get involved. I think they are seeing, and hearing about the benefits for them from their perspective. A lot of them wouldn't have the capacity to deliver something big enough to make it work on their own. They're looking to be part of a collaboration that helps support the women together, where they don't have to actually put so much resource into making it work and happen. The other benefits are, it's a shared goal. They all brought insight and they still bring insight to the collective offer that we put on the table. So the networks connect, the women connect, best practice. So yeah, the benefits are huge for employers just as they are for the women.
Fabulous, thank you. Cassandra, moving over to you, I know you've progressed through the ranks of a typically male-dominated industry, so I'm really interested to hear about your experience and what it's been like since you first started in the construction industry. I know you've been working at NHBC for 17 years now. What have you seen in terms of the industry's attitude towards women changing during your professional career?
The first point I'd pick up is on Tracey's point regarding PPE. So, believe it or not, probably from about the last 4 years was the first time that I had women's PPE. Before that, I've always worn men's PPE. So when I joined the industry 17 years ago, I did have comments asking if I was wearing my dad's PPE. Was I on work experience, obviously, because the PPE was quite large on me. So I did have a lot of jesting, and I did take it in good spirit when I was challenged over my role on site. Was I on work experience? I was frequently asked what my knowledge was, how I'd got into house building. Sometimes it could feel like I was being challenged, or did I have the experience and knowledge to be in the role that I was in as a building inspector? And quite often, when arriving on site, I'd be asked, or it would be suggested, that I was from health and safety. So again, this could be quite amusing because as I was parking on site, I could see people dashing to get their hard hats and their high vises on, and there was quite an element of surprise when I explained I was a building inspector. It was quite daunting in the early days, particularly arriving on a new site. It could, as I said, be quite daunting walking into the site office, the project office. And again, when I was covering for my experienced male colleagues, when I would arrive to cover their sites, again, I could be challenged by site teams if I was picking up any issues or contraventions to the NHBC standards and building regulations. So in the early days, I felt that I was justifying myself and having to explain myself quite a lot. But again, it didn't take long to build trusted relationships. My team that I worked in, I had two great mentors who were thoroughly supportive and at times quite protective as well. So if ever I did feel intimidated on a site, which was rare, I knew I'd always have the support of colleagues with me. And like I say, it didn't take long to build up respect and trusted relationships on site.
Thank you. John, coming to you next. I know you're a huge advocate for encouraging more women into the industry. Why do you think initiatives like Women in Construction Week help to promote this?
It helps to focus and it helps the spotlight. I think it brings it back up the agenda. I think it brings it forward in my thinking. And I think all initiatives need these key weeks. But what it helps us do is capitalise on the learning of, the previous year, because it reinvigorates and it encourages more sessions and discussions and meetings in the build up to this week. So it's actually not about the week, it's a continuous thing. So it just helps bring a spotlight on. But what it means for us as a division is that it helps us open the doors in those weeks when we're trying to get new initiatives off the ground. And it helps, I suppose in a way, it helps more collaboration towards these common goals, because we work in such a fast-paced industry and environment. The point of a focus week, a focus month, or a focus general, we can't lose sight of it. And that's partly why I think, the Women in Construction Week still needs that badge, if you like, to help promote. But I think as the industry as a whole, it's not just 1 week. It's pretty much forever, isn't it? And we need, that's another part of the discussions, I think, that we keep going.
Thanks, John. I think I just want to touch on something I think all of you mentioned around, I suppose, promotion, awareness raising, and a bit of outreach. And I just want to maybe go to the benefits of school and college outreach activity. How important do you think that is to actually get involved and undertake that? Cassandra, I'll come to you first.
I think it's crucially important that we work with the education sector as young as preschool age. I think we should be changing the mindset that a career in the construction industry is for people who aren't academic. Again, we need to remove that stigma, break down those barriers, and say, that the construction industry is for everybody, whether you're a lawyer, whether you'd rather be more hands-on. There is so many opportunities for you. We need to approach all girls' schools, colleges, and show that they can have a career in the construction industry, that there aren't the physical barriers. If you want to have a physically demanding job, then you can do that. You can be a bricklayer. The opportunities are there. if you believe in yourself and you have the support of people around you. So we also need to appeal to parents as well and reach out to them and show them the opportunities that are there. And, it's continual education within the construction industry, isn't it? We don't take people from schools or universities or colleges. We continue to develop and invest in people.
Thank you. Tracey, coming to you next. What are your thoughts on outreach activity?
I think it's really key to ignite that interest in the industry, because I think the young people probably don't give us a second thought. They hear the word construction and just think, oh, it's just bricks and mortar and that's it. I think we really need to sort of be in there promoting the breadth of careers on offer, all the different pathways that they can take to get into the industry. We are a prosperous industry and we're here for the long term, and there is great earning potential and career potential within the industry that I think quite often goes unnoticed in schools. I go into schools, first question they ask me is, what sort of car do you drive? Where do you live? They're very much interested in the prospects of being in any industry. So I think we sometimes take second place to some of the other more academic industries, finance, IT, tech, all. So I think we just need to get the message out. And, I think we need to get more ambassadors out in the field to talk about their journeys and how they overcome the barriers. Certainly within the Women in Homebuilding programme, we bring a lot of site managers and assistant site managers who come in and share their journey and tell us how hard it is sometimes, how hard it was at the start, how much they love it now and they can't think of anything other than this particular role. So, yeah, we just need to get out there and sort of shout out about it. I think the other things that Cassandra mentioned was influencers. We absolutely need to get to the influencers such as parents and the careers teachers and share the same information with them, because I think they need to be made aware of, what we've got to offer as well, because, they have a huge influence on, the direction of travel that the young people take.
Yeah, completely agree. John, what are your thoughts on outreach activity? I know you and the division are heavily involved in this.
I think it's essential. That early engagement is critical. It's sparking interest, potential. I think there was an interesting point on the parenting and how there might be traditional thoughts on where young women may go to work. And that commonly is associated with places of safety, both in the physicality of that and on the emotional context of that career. We want young people to feel safe, and construction has been, I suppose, tarred for not being on the safest of industries or the most welcoming. So getting children and parents or young people and parents engaged early helps dismiss those myths, and we can do a lot on that. But it's reaching out at the schools, the colleges, the universities, and it's reaching out to local groups as well to help encourage women that these barriers can be broken down and can be taken away or worked around. There's, so many ways to skin that cat in terms of getting women into construction. But I think the early engagement is absolutely essential. We've had a few opportunities with schools and they're always receptive and they're always willing to assist us. I think the uptake by pupils is not dissimilar to what Tracey was saying. Their little minds are going elsewhere, but we need to start somewhere, and it's planting those seeds and revisiting those schools to keep those programmes alive and keep them going. I think that's key to this as well. But we would hope, again, to see more young people and young women coming into the industry through those types of routes. And it's not just limited to managerial or supervisory roles. There's trades there. So there's a whole range of opportunity that we can put forward, which we're keen to do and help with.
Absolutely. Thank you. One of my last questions for all of you is, what do you think that the construction industry is doing really well to promote more women to join us? And what could we be doing better?
I think there's a great support network for women entering the construction industry. We need to do more on that front though, and obviously Tracey said some of the great work that the HBF are carrying out, but it's still a shame when we see the Women in Construction networks ceasing, as we've said, in 2023. So we need to focus on that. We need to open up opportunities more. It's very difficult with regards to health and safety on site to bring schools, to bring younger children, young women onto site so they can experience site through our eyes and see, how great it can be. Yes, we're subjected to the great British weather, but there are highlights there as well. I think we need to use social media channels as well. We see so many influencers on TikTok, that's probably an area where we need to grow so we can show the different opportunities out there. We can show how fun the construction industry can be. So I think how we reach out to women and, wider networks as well, we need to look at how we're advertising, how we're sharing the opportunities within the construction industry. So I think we've all got a role to play in supporting people into the industry. I'm fortunate that I act as a mentor within NHBC now. So we have a structured programme where I get to work on a more formal basis with 2 females within NHBC annually, but I encourage that mentoring with anybody within NHBC, and I think we probably need to offer that more. We need to open up work experience as well, so we can offer 2 weeks of work experience to schools. So for children at the age of 15, we need to look at girls' schools as well and bring them onto site.
Thank you. John, coming to you next. What do you think the industry is doing well to promote more women to join us, and what could we be doing better?
I think the industry's got lots of things on the go which they're doing well. From my perspective, I think the industry's listening. It's wholeheartedly trying to make the right steps. And I think through ensuring we have women or female role models and executive positions will help that cascade through policy change, because that will support the changes we need at a grassroots level. I see a lot of that at Bellway, which I'm delighted about. We see a lot of positive influences coming through and reaching site level, where ultimately, if it's women in construction, those environments need to be correctly prepared and set up and inclusive, and the cultures at site level need to be enabled to be naturally inclusive. I think those topics are shifting for the better. I like the point Cassandra made about social media. I think that plays a vital and crucial part in terms of reaching out beyond, just a field of vision. But I think that's critical, particularly with young persons, because it's pretty much all they're ever on now, isn't it? I think the industry still lets itself down in many ways. And I have a chuckle, we've still got these men at work signs, which, they're still being manufactured, they're still being printed. But I still have a chuckle walking down the high street, and I'm pleased to know there's men at work, So things like that need to change. And those are the small things, but they're the small things that in some ways don't help. They don't help. So I think the industry's got lots of good things on the go. Bellway certainly has, with lots of new initiatives. We've certainly seen a lot more flexible working arrangements coming into place. We're seeing far more inclusive workplace cultures. We're seeing more women keen to know what's happening on site because they feel it's an environment they're happy to be part of. So they're moving closer and looking at opportunities in the construction team. So roles that may exist in the office, they're now keen to expand that and go, is there opportunities available on site? And all that's being promoted internally at Bellway, which I think is fabulous. And the uptake and the encouragement with internal teams is very good on that. But I think the industry has still got lots of work to do. We've done a lot of work, but like I say, the men at work sign kind of typifies it for me in terms of what we still need to get better at.
Thank you, Sean. And Tracey, last but not least, what do you think we're doing really well to promote more women in the industry, and what could we be doing better?
I think the industry's now picking up the baton for sure. You know, the message is getting out there. It's also moving up through the ranks to the senior management team because they need to champion it as well. And, you know, like John said, I know Bellway are doing great work. They've included a whole policy around recruiting women across their divisions, which was great to see. But yeah, I just think, you know, we always seem to be able to attract those women in sales roles, customer service, and in the office corporate roles. But in its sight that we really need to encourage more women and do more work around that. I do talk to a lot of women in sales offices that say, you know, I think I want to be on site more. I want to be out there on the job, either in trades or management roles. So the message is getting out, and I notice more people want to connect to find out more about women's programs and access. But I think we need to do more around the career changes. There's a lot of transferable skills that we can bring into the industry. You know, women that have traditionally worked overseas or qualified overseas that need the experience in this country to really sort of take their skill sets and their knowledge and put them to work here. So, yeah, I just think we need to make sure that we're looking at the breadth of women that are out there, not just the new entrants. Absolutely agree with the social media. You know, we do need more role models, more ambassadors going out there, more sort of quick. I know when you're on TikTok or it's a very, very quick influence. It's like, hi, guess what I did today or whatever. This was great today. So, we need more of that. Absolutely. I think what we don't do in the whole realm of the industry and women is talk about the environmental aspect, the social aspect, the community aspect, which women tend to want to be part of more. I think the whole building a family issue. So, maybe we promote it from a different perspective as well. That yes, we've got site work, yes, we've got variety of roles, but yes, we're helping to create communities, build more social networks for the longer term. So it's just about looking at different avenues, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Really interesting points. Thank you. So just as we close off our discussion for today, I'm interested in a final question. So what would be your advice for any women who are looking to take a step into the construction or house building industry? Tracey, let's come back to you.
Just really go for it. Just look online, go onto different websites, the Home Builders Federation website, Go Construct, CITB website. Look at programs that are out there and get involved. Talk to people on LinkedIn, connect. Just find out as much as you possibly can, and we can do the rest with you.
Thank you. John?
Yeah, I think encouraging women to just go for it. It's a fabulous industry. It will work. It's dynamic. It changes every day. The end result is a happy home if you're in the housing industry. So to create homes and a happy customer is the ultimate goal. And that's a fabulous reward. I think the networking and social aspects that come with that Tracey just mentioned, that's absolutely spot on. There's a real close-knit team on sites at a site level and beyond. The industry's pretty well networked, but you feel part of something. You feel part of something bigger. And I think that brings along with it great opportunities. We just need to push through a few barriers. But once you're through there, it's an inclusive, it's a supportive place that I think in terms of housing, there's very few industries that can compete in terms of the goal, which is creating fabulous homes.
Thank you, John. And Cassandra?
The key message for me is believe in yourself. You can do this. Like we say, push down the barriers, keep driving forward, take every opportunity to explore the different roles within construction. Like we've said, it's a great industry with the opportunity to move, to see different areas of businesses. So take every opportunity that's offered to you, continue to learn, take the experience from colleagues around you. And again, like I say, believe in yourself. You can do this.
Thank you all. Just to finish up, if we have any listeners who really want to get involved in or are thinking about a career in house building right now, where can they go to either connect with you or connect with opportunities?
They can go to the Homebuilders Federation and find out more. They can go to housebuilding careers. You can connect through to industry across the country. There's a map. It will take you right through to each particular employer, and you can look at their vacancies, their career recruitment, so you can find out lots there.
From my part, you can log on to the NHBC website. We have opportunities available there. I'm available via LinkedIn, via Cassandra Codling at NHBC. So I'm happy to speak with anybody that's considering a role within construction. And at our Beyond 25 Live technical event, we have 2 Women in Construction panel sessions, so it will be great to see more people again considering a career in construction to come along to that. We've got our skills hubs there, so you can look at the opportunities available to apprentices and try your hand at bricklaying as well.
Fabulous. I'd love to give that a go myself, to be honest.
Come along.
And not to forget that our early careers programmes are open and available online at the Bellway webpage.
Anything else anyone wants to share?
Yeah, if I can just do a final plug for the current Women into Home Building programme that launched a couple of weeks ago. If you go onto the HBF website and Women into Home Building, you can find out all about the programme, register your application, and fingers crossed, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you all. That just about wraps up our session on Bricking It with Bellway. A huge thank you to Cassandra, Tracey and to John for joining me today. If you've been tuning in and you're thinking about a career with Bellway or a career in house building, please head to our show notes for all of the information on our current vacancies and how to apply. We'd love to have you on the team.